Hey everybody, Lara here from Love on a Plate, and today I'm going to show you how I make my corned beef and cabbage in the Instant Pot. I love to make holiday food, and half of James's family is Irish and a quarter of mine is, so there's lots of Irish in us, and of course St. Patrick's Day is coming. Problem with corned beef is that it takes a super long time for it to get tender because it's made from a brisket of beef that's then been seasoned, which is why they call it corned. Nothing to do with corn, but the Instant Pot makes it possible. So in the oven it would take probably 4 hours, which is not possible on a weeknight, but in the Instant Pot you can do the corned beef, the cabbage, the potatoes, the carrots, the whole shebang in an hour and 10 minutes. So it's super simple. I have my corned beef, which I'm putting right into my Instant Pot. And I'm going to add 3 cups of beef stock. And then even though it's been seasoned, I like to add lots of extra garlic. That's going to season the broth, which I'm going to go back and cook the potatoes and the carrots and the cabbage in. So I'm just going to throw these in whole because they're just for flavor. Some onions, because I put onions in everything. And that honestly is all you have to do. 1 corned beef. Some corned beefs come with an extra seasoning packet, so if you have the seasoning packet, you would sprinkle that on there. Mine doesn't. It was already fully seasoned up. So now all I'm going to do is put the lid on, turn it to vent, and set it to high pressure for 1 hour and 15 minutes. Let it do its thing. It's not going to take very long to come to pressure, and then it'll cook. It'll be super tender. Once that's done, I'm going to take my cabbage. I'm going to cut it up. I'm going to take baby potatoes. I'm using baby red and whites, and some carrots for some sweetness. I'm going to cook those in the Instant Pot with the juice and the beef for like 4 or 5 minutes. Take the whole thing out and dinner is served. So we'll be right back as soon as this corned beef is cooked. So this cooked for 1 hour and 15 minutes, and then with all meat, it's really important to do a non-pressure release, which means you don't turn the valve and you let the pressure slowly release. That gives the meat time to rest, the muscles kind of relax, and it makes sure that your meat is juicy and tender instead of like tough and hard, which is not the point. So to avoid burning myself, I use my handy dandy spoon here. If you turn that valve all the way, it's going to make this big huge noise. So I don't do that. I just turn it gently and let it release. And then when I know it's not spitting, then I can open it up like it is now. And then as soon as the little pin drops down, that's when all the pressure is gone and you can safely open up your Instant Pot. So we're going to open this up and we're going to add in the cabbage, carrots, and potatoes. And so I'm going to take this cabbage and cut it. Cabbage is so hard to cut. Okay, it's not usually quite that hard. All right, so I want half a head. And depending on how you like to serve your corned beef and cabbage, you can cut it in wedges like this, and leave them and put them in, or you can chop it up smaller. We're going to cook it for 4 minutes in the pot. So I have cabbage, and then potatoes, and I'm using baby potatoes because I'm super lazy and I don't want to cut up a bunch of potatoes, and they taste nice. So these are washed and dried already, and I'm going to throw in some of these, and then I'm going to use baby carrots. No cutting. All right, so over we go. And oh, you guys, this is so tender. Okay, so I'm gonna leave that in there though, and then I'm going to put in my potatoes right into the broth. These are going to be delicious. Okay, and then carrots. If you want to use regular carrots, you can. So because the water is still hot from having just released, it really won't take long to go back up to pressure. And we're going to cook it for 4 minutes. And then we're going to put the cabbage in. It's not fancy. It is tasty. And we put the lid back on. And it sings at you, which means it's happy. So we cancel. Back to pressure. Definitely do not need. So this will take 4 minutes. Plus come to pressure time. So probably another 10 minutes. And then reseal it. And it's still really nice and hot, so it will come back up to pressure pretty fast. So again, with my handy dandy spoon, I love the little hole in here because it fits perfectly on that release valve. And then I just push it a little. Can't really rush that part, you just have to wait for it to finish. And then the silver valve, where it's silver on mine, it's different colors on different ones, some are red, but it'll pop down. And there's a safety feature, it won't let you open the pot until all the pressure is released. But be warned, when you open it, there's still a whole bunch of steam gonna come out, okay? So now, crazy steaming, but this normally would have taken like 5 hours in the oven or in the slow cooker, but I find the slow cooker makes everything just a bit blander. So I'm going to take out my cabbage, and like I said, you could cook the cabbage in full wedges and that would be fine. I'm going to get my corned beef out. That's so tender, you guys. The other thing to know about corned beef is it really shrinks down. It's a beef brisket and it really shrinks to like half. And then I have carrots and potatoes in here. So I'm going to go in and scoop those out. And this way, we can all have corned beef and cabbage on St. Patrick's Day. I would say any day, because it's really a delicious meal, but it's actually pretty expensive. The brisket is one of the most expensive cuts of beef, interestingly. So we save it for when it's on sale, like right after St. Patrick's Day, when there's too much in the grocery store. And the potatoes are really tender and don't need any seasoning because I have the beef broth in there and I have all the flavor from the corned beef. So really, it was pretty much a dump and cook and then dump again recipe. And that's it. There are more goodies in here, but I'll fish those out after. Okay. So then you do want to let your corned beef sit just a couple of minutes before you slice it. And then you're going to slice it across the grain. Okay, so now the corned beef has rested until it's still steaming, but it's cool enough that I can touch it. So I'm going to go ahead and slice it. And to do that, I'm going to slice it against the grain, which is how you always want to slice meat when you want it to be tender. So to look for the grain, you can see here, it goes in this direction, which means I'm going to cut the meat this way. If I cut it this way, it'll just all turn into shreds of corned beef. And there's nothing wrong with that, but that's not what I'm after today. So it's like butter. Cutting through this. This is going to be so insanely good. And you can see it's juicy. And the flavor is ridiculous. And you always need twice the size of a corned beef that you think you did, because it really, really shrinks during the cooking. So that's it. That is my sliced corned beef. I'm going to serve it up with these potatoes and cabbage and carrots. And we have a really nice meal for St. Patrick's Day or any day, honestly. So thanks for coming into my kitchen. You can get this recipe at loveonaplate.net. You can also register there so that you can save the recipes, make your own meal plans, and print out shopping lists. Hope you have a great night, and we'll see you back here soon.